63, and that is for our advisory support group and our client relationship associates.
Okay, so primarily looking for Series 7, right?
Correct.
Okay. And what kind of well, what's our process be? Like we're gonna, of course, everyone here without fail is gonna pass the SIE. I just know. Okay. How will they? Okay. How will they be onboarded, and how will the training go into prepping for the Series 7?
Yeah. So we have what we call our onboarding process. So it's about a week and a half at most, if I remember correctly. Again, this is 6 years ago, so don't quote me too hard on my timelines there. But you're looking at about a week and a half of corporate orientation, just getting to know the roots about Vanguard, getting to select all the administrative stuff that you will need for onboarding, and then we go through our Vanguard University. It's a dedicated program with trainers, basically teachers. You're going through another set of classes all day, every day. You're being paid to get prepared, get yourself set up for success for the Series 7, the 63. Both licenses are taught and assisted with through our system, all while you're also getting yourself prepared for the role that you're going into. I believe we do have a two attempt. Currently, it's been a two attempt for the Series 7 and the 63. When you go through our setup process, and then at the end, you get to just set sail right into your role.
Okay. When you say to attempt, is it in some places it's condition of employment to be able to pass the test within a certain number of tries. Is that what you mean by to attempt?
Correct. Yeah. So we give two attempts in order to maintain the employment through us.
Okay. But of course, everyone's going to be very well prepared. And if I understand it, as I said, you're going to have dedicated study time. You're not just to prepare for the test. Is that correct?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Well,
You were
that's that.
breaking up a
There'll
little
be
bit here.
dedicated study time.
There is dedicated study time, like I said. So we call it our trainers or our proctors. They actually go through the process.
Yeah. Okay. Which, by the way, is becoming a big difference. I know a lot of places, and I know a lot of people. They had to work their regular full-time job while studying for the Series 7.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
that's okay. Not only does that take a lot more time, but it's harder to maintain the momentum. So, which you've heard me say a bunch of times. Make sure you're doing things on a daily basis. Keep the momentum going between now and then. Okay, good. So, tell me what about the initial type of phase of the the first as you mentioned, I guess their customer contact. Um, is this the typical? Is there a standard, let's say, entry level position?
Yeah, great question. So let me go ahead and bring up my little preview here. So one of the first roles is our client relationship associate. At a glance, like I mentioned, it's a Series 7 and 63. What you're doing through this role is pretty much coming into an entry level of where I started. You're assisting all clients based on a specialty. We now have a journey system where you're either assisting with our investments department, or I should say, um, yes, it is investments. uh, Basically, handling a lot of our trades for our mutual funds or our stocks, ETFs, you call it. We do have our change of ownership department that handles a lot of the change in transitions, changing of ownership, a lot of those life events for our clients. We have our onboarding section that helps assist with our transfer of assets, a lot of the opening of accounts, building that rapport with the client, helping them on the transition in with a potential first relationship with Vanguard. And we have, like I mentioned, a retirement department that assists more through that retirement phase, whether it's our IRA, setting them up, going through initial investments, or going through required minimum distribution section. All of these roles are part of our client relationship associate bracket, if you want to think about it. And it teaches you so much, not just about the clients, but the investment world, how you're able to interact with all other firms. You also have interactions like that. So it's not just Vanguard that you're talking through other institutions potentially as to how you're able to walk through that phase.
In some places, you have to be at a certain in a position for a certain period of time before applying for other areas or other divisions. Is there maybe like a first year or first 2 years or anything like that?
Yeah, we call our timing job to be roughly at the entry positions or our individual contributors to be about a year. However, that is where open communication, open conversations with each leader is necessary. If you're able to talk about your passions, your dreams, where you want to be going, we start tailoring more of your day to day to be towards that direction. If you're thinking, hey, I really want to build a wealth management relationship where I'm assisting clients going from there through handling their businesses and handling their process of keeping that relationship, we'll start tailoring you more to those relationships. Probably more complex situations where you get to work day in day out with a client. Or if you're thinking, I really want to be handling more of our advisory services, we also tailor to that. So those opportunities do start opening up, and we do have what we call intern, or as anyone would call them, internships. If you are wanting to move into a position, if there is an opportunity, having that constant conversation makes it so much easier to grant that opportunity for an internship and move a little bit faster into that role if it is something that you've expressed that you're wanting to go for.
Very good. Okay. What now the here in the valley, especially for those who are geography plays a role. I believe the Vanguard Center is in the Scottsdale area, North Scottsdale Air Park area, right? Right?
Yeah, we're very much I believe what the main campus right now for Scottsdale Community College is Thomas Road, or is it Indian School and 101?
SCC is off of Chaparral.
Chaparral, thank you.
Yes.
I kind of confused all of those three exits at the same time. We're definitely just like maybe 10 minutes north of that off of Raintree. But yes, the Scottsdale Airport is the closest landmark. Or if anybody knows, what is it? The open waste management happens. Waste management. What is the other one? Um, oh my gosh,
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Westworld is also
Westworld.
very right next to our
Uh,
to one of our offices.
yeah,
I
Westworld
have
is
to
the
think.
spot. Oh, Kimberly mentioned the Barrett Jackson auction. Yes.
Yep,
Okay. But yeah, it's right in the neighborhood.
exactly.
Okay. Alright. And so well, once we're in then, after maybe your first year, what are the major, let's say, big career opportunities that we find? Or maybe it's such a big building that I'm sure there are multiple divisions. You've already mentioned
There
like
are
retirement
so
services.
many divisions. Yeah. So let's say you do end up liking this client relationship associate role. We do have the next step up where you become an advanced client relationship associate. So similar bracket, you're just handling a little bit more of wealthier clients to help the high net worth. Then we do have our retail sales group. We have our sales department that just handles sales or the onboarding for advice. Like I mentioned, we have our personal advisory services. We do also have our financial advisory services, which is more of our backend um, assistance. This department ends up helping out with the relationship with contra firms or other institutions on making sure that we're providing enough products out there for all other financial advisors. Like I mentioned, we have our mutual fund pricing department. We have our institutional department. So we handle the Amazon 401k. That is something that we have a client relationship agent, or in this case for Amazon, it's a whole team that does assist through that. We do have a couple of agents that are stationed here in our Scottsdale office for that. I believe we also have the Google 401k. Don't quote me too hard on that one. It's been a while since I've seen those accounts come through by my desk, but like I mentioned, we handle all retail, we handle all other institutions, and we also handle um, our 401k for our institutional partners. So pretty much anything you're wanting to do after year one, you're able to do. As long as you have either the experience or you've been building up skills that can guide you into that direction, potentially gearing you up for a future long-term career within that department.
What about shifts availabilities? Is it going to be all just basically keep, especially East Coast hours, which which we got to get up bright and early for here in the West Coast?
Um, I'll be brutally honest. I'm probably the worst person that you can ask on that because I am a workaholic. I started my day today at 5 in the morning, and technically I'm still on the clock. So that is a little bit of a long one. I That is definitely on me, but Arizona is nice because we are the contingency site. So we actually work more of the afternoon hours. We're talking a normal day right now with daylight savings. We're 2 hours away or 2 hour difference from East Coast. We tend to work the 8:30, 9:30 to 5 to 6.
Okay, so a little more regular business hours for for
Hmm.
on our end, yes. Okay, so not necessarily having to keep New York hours.
Correct.
Okay. Are there either evening or for people who prefer evening or overnight or weekend shifts?
So we don't offer anything like that. I think this is the nice thing about Vanguard. Personally, it's our work-life balance is really taken into account. We actually work more of a 37 and a half hour work week. So we try and really take care of all of our crew members for that reason. Um, we do offer, depending on the role, there is a potential of like um, weekend coverage that's needed, whether it's in our processing department or we're testing out different sections in our IT, or we have um, like overtime opportunities where hey you can come in earlier and do do more work if needed, but it's very much we like to stick to our 37 and a half hour work week.
Okay. I see Kimberly just entered a question here. Is there a bonus structure for the entry level position?
There is, so we have what we call partnership. This happens roughly every July. Yeah, July. It's a whole company wide celebration. We get to cherish and celebrate the success that we've had for our clients. In essence of their success, we look at the 3 years performance of the company. So we like to protect ourselves because of the conservative nature. We don't just base it off of 1 year. If we were to be looking at that, the last couple of years could be impacting that, but it is all 100% based off of company performance for the last 3 years. So clients win, we win. Like I said, there's no confusing loyalties as to where we go.
Okay. All right. Um, well, I think I'm not sure if I can think of any others, but is the commission compensation based? Is it salary? Is it wage? Is it hourly wage? Is it we already
Yeah.
know
So
it's a bonus
entry,
structure.
great question.
Okay, or draw versus commission, anything like that?
Yeah. So it is more of a we the entry level is salary slash hourly. So it's a base salary, and then after your expected 37 and a half hours, if you are working overtime, it does turn into that hourly where you're getting paid that additional set.
And of course, for those who it's important, their health insurance, life insurance, 401k matches.
Great question.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have a quick little slide for that. Let me just go ahead and find it here. We tend to move so fast through it. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, so we have our retirement savings plan. So we have matching. Through that, we have health coverage, wellness centers, parental leave, PTO. We also have student loan repayment, tuition reimbursements, certificate programs, internal career development resources. Yeah, those are a little bit of kind of a few of those things that we do have. Like I said, Vanguard definitely cares for their employees.
Okay, great. Well, I'd like to open it up to the floor here to all my everyone here who's in the class. Please tell me what would you like to ask about here? Okay, remote
I'm
work
gonna stop
opportunities.
presenting.
Okay, so I guess
Perfect. Yeah, sorry about that.
yeah, especially in post-COVID world, there are things that end up being on-site, remote, some hybrid between. What's the current status?
Yeah, so right now, so that role that I was showcasing that slide for or that flyer for, it is our hybrid. department or hybrid work schedule where we're working in office Tuesday through Thursday. Mondays and Fridays are at home. Hence why you see this background today. Uh, but we also do have we're starting to experiment with a few remote opportunities. We call it our customer experience services team. And I'm saying that very vaguely because I just know that we started hiring for this last week. So I have no close connection right now to what is actually being presented through that. Um, but those are some of the opportunities that we do have for those that are maybe interested in like the remote possibilities. Um, Starting pay. I see that question. I believe for entry level typically is about 48,000, if I'm correct. Like I said, it's salary, then it does turn into hourly along with that. But pretty much it's a base of 48 if you're coming in for licensing roles.
Pre-mentions after the SIE.
Yes, that is after the SIE.
Mhm.
Hi, Edgar. I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One is when you mentioned campus, about how large is the office there then?
Whew. We just acquired a new building, so let me think building wise. We're McDowell, Pima, north side is Braintree, Windsor, Wellington. We're 7 buildings. I'm not gonna lie, you're probably not leaving most of your building if you're in main campus. You're not visiting our McDowell building. That's more of our processing and onboarding. Currently, we are at the Pima site just because we're doing some restructuring in construction. But quantity of employees, I want to say it's about 3 to 5,000 employees just here in Arizona.
That's great. I didn't realize it was that big. And then your guys' wealth management group, how large is it? Is it super competitive to get into it?
The wealth management, I just have someone that joined me for an internship from there. It's competitive. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't say it's the most competitive thing. That's the nice thing about Vanguard. Once you're in, pretty much you see people rotating, moving side to side, like no problem. If you're like, I really want to test out that environment, can I do that? You can hop over. We call our rotationals pretty often. But no, I wouldn't say it's that competitive once you get a foot in the door.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I have another one. I'm sorry.
Oh, totally good.
Are pretty much all the entry level positions within Vanguard, are they all more call center facing?
No, we do have our processing side. Those tend to be more non-licensed, just because you're not actually talking with the client. You're not the one placing those transactions. Those transactions are actually just coming to you via instructions already captured by a registered agent to be able to do that. But we do have non-client facing roles, but for the majority, Vanguard does work more on a client facing or business facing role.
Thank you. And then any chance that you would be able to email out the slide with that QR code? I'm on my phone, so I'm not able to snap a picture of it.
You know what? What I can do is I'll be able to post it on my LinkedIn. I'm not even gonna lie, I had to fly under the radar because of how secure our firewall our firewall is. That I had to email that presentation to myself. Otherwise, I would not have been able to show it. So I'll post it on my LinkedIn. I do have my LinkedIn there, and I'll post a link to our jobs website. It's vanguardjobs.com, if I'm correct. Yeah, vanguardjobs.com. If you are interested in any of our additional roles, they are all listed there. You're able to break it down via your experience, what you're looking for, and see a breakdown of what the role is like.
Perfect. Thank you. Would you be able just to put your full name in the
Yep.
chat, maybe? Thank you.
And I believe Karina had a question about our positions posted on LinkedIn.
Are the job? They are a few posted on our Vanguard LinkedIn. However, most of them I would recommend more at vanguardjobs.com.
So, who do you think is the best ideal candidate for a successful career at Vanguard?
Yeah, great question. I would say someone that is very much engaged in wanting to stand up for those for those investors. You don't necessarily need to have the best knowledge of investments. You don't necessarily need to have, the highest score of all your licensing tests. It's all about your interactions and wanting to do right by the client, where you're able to care for that customer experience and assist them, is where you become a very valuable client for a bank or candidate for Vanguard, because of what we're looking for. We're looking to deliver the world class experience to all clients, and we will teach you all when it comes to investments. We'll teach you all about it when it comes to your resources or your job tools needed. So it'll all come to you, or you will be given all of that. You just need to come in with the right mindset and attitude.
Okay. All right. Anything else before we would open up here for Edgar? Okay. All right. And okay, Rita says thank you, and I thank you too. And okay. And by the way, I've had some people who come through the SEC class before who in fact landed careers at Vanguard. So okay.
Yeah.
So it's definitely some endorsement from those some of your fellow students. Okay. All right. Virtual round of applause. Okay. Edgar, we're very grateful to you for coming by here and helping us know a little something more and help us understand. Okay, what we've all been working and studying so hard for.
I believe
Okay, are we all good? Here, I'm not sure, but I think you're frozen. I know that's always the part about doing these web classes. Sometimes things don't go according to plan, but hey, we got through all the things we needed to get. All right, is everybody good? Okay. All right, bunch of thumbs up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause recording. Okay, yeah, I think okay, you're probably just lost this connection. So, all right, but exactly the time's good. Okay, let's just we'll take a couple minutes break here, and while I set up with today's material, so I'll be with you here shortly. In the meanwhile, I should also ask, but oh, hello, Edgar, managed to make it back.
Sorry about that. My internet dropped for some reason.
I know, I hate it when that happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say, if any of you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very happy to talk or go through any additional information.
All right. We're very grateful to you, Edgar. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So we'll set up. We'll get up the next thing here. I think I'll set up a Kahoot for you. Is there anything that, by the way, in any material that you've come across that you want to ask about? Just get me a little more clarity about. So please feel free if there's something that you came across during your practice sessions this week that left you wondering, kind of stumped you a little bit, and I'll see if I can't help. Maybe just give you a little extra detail. Okay. With that, we'll see you in just a couple minutes. Okay. Okay. Which Federal Securities Act provides a legal framework for the registration of securities at the state level? A. Uniform Securities Act. B. 1933 Securities Act. C. 1934 Securities Exchange Act. Or D. National Securities Markets Improvement Act of 1996. And okay. All right, I had some difference of opinion here, but our key word in this case was registration of securities at the state level. And the regulation that governs state securities laws is the Uniform Securities Act. which, by the way, is not actually the actual law. It's more like a model law or a blueprint that states can follow if they want to in creating its own. Every state has its own securities regulations too. So at the state level, right, is under the Uniform Securities Act. The 1933 Securities Act, that's at the federal level. Okay. All right, let's see who scored some points. All right, Hannah's on the board. Very nicely done. Let's check our next question. A broker-dealer's registration with the Securities and Exchange Commission conveys that the SEC, A, guarantees that the member firm will abide by all securities industry rules. B, has made a positive determination regarding the financial statement. C, has accepted the member firm's registration to do business. D, has approved the member firm business. Right, again, some difference of opinion here, but just that the registration with the SEC conveys that they've accepted the member's firm to do business. That's it. We have to be cautious, right? You'll always hear the very neutral language. You'll never hear them say like approved by the SEC, endorsed by, guaranteed by, nothing else. Basically, right, just that they're registered with the SEC, that they're approved to do business. Their firms are registered to do business. It does not make any other determination about that, has not approved their models, has not guaranteed anything about them. Just nothing but that. And you'll think you'll find that generally with any kind of regulator, right? You'll always hear a very neutral language. Okay, let's see who did here. All right, Kimberly has moved up here as well. That's our next one. Under the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, registration is required for A, broker-dealers, B, foreign securities exchanges, C, securities, D, Yes, right, that requires registration for broker-dealers under the Securities Exchange Act, yes, which is sometimes called the People Act, right, which says that the people in the industry, like broker-dealer firms, their employees, registered representatives, that'll be you one day, the stock exchanges also, everyone has to register with and report to the SEC. We say don't securities, don't initial public offerings. They are required to register under the Securities Act of 1933. Right, which is for creation, where the creation of primary market of newly issued or newly created securities. That falls into the 33 Act. Be a little cautious. One of their favorite tricks is they like to confuse what's ruled under the Securities Act of 1933 and what comes under the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. Yes, Securities Act is primary market, newly created securities. Securities Exchange Act is secondary market, which refers to trading between investors. All right, let's see who got some points. Okay, Hannah retakes the lead. Kimberly, Ashley, and Alicia are on the board. Next question is, a rep is a registered representative in state A. When would she be required to register in state B? A, if her member firm employer has an office in state B. B, if she wants to sell securities to a resident of state B visiting state A. C, if the issuer was in state B. Or D, if one of her clients occasionally visits state B. Very nicely done. Yes, right. If she wants to sell securities to a resident of state B, she would require to register in state B. Again, this is referring to the Uniform Securities Act about state regulations. Good, yes. And they always have to register, both employer and employee. The firm and the employee have to register in the state of the customer's state of residence. So if a client occasionally visits state B, no, does not have to register with state B. It's not the client's permanent residence. Kimberly's 3 in a row and moving into the lead. Okay, next one. The Federal Reserve Board, FRB, does all the following except A, regulate and impact money supply. B, enact fiscal policy. C, determine monetary policy. D, supervise the printing of currency. Right. They do all those things, but what they do not do is fiscal policy. Who does fiscal policy? Right? Fiscal policy is the act of Congress. Right? That's government action in terms of the economy is fiscal policy. The Federal Reserve oversees our monetary policy. Monetary, money, right? The money supply. That's the purview of the Federal Reserve. Kimberly's 4 in a row. Colby moves up. All the following are examples of SROs in the securities industry except A. FINRA, Securities and Exchange Commission, the SIE, NYSE, or D. The Municipal Security. Correct. The one that is not an SRO is the Securities Exchange Commission. The self-regulatory organizations are the industry, basically, saying we will oversee and review ourselves, but they must all report to the Securities Exchange Commission. Yes. So the securities, right? The self-regulatory organizations that work under the purview of the oversight of the Securities Exchange Commission. The SEC is not a self-regulatory organization. It is the regulators, the government regulator for the industry. Yes. All the others, FINRA, New York Stock Exchange, and the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board, these are all examples of self-regulatory organizations. All right, Hannah's got some points. Let's check our next one. All the following examples of SRO in the securities industry except the New York Stock Exchange, Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, C, the Securities Exchange Commission, D, the should be me. Yes, there you go. Okay. All right, 5 people answered. This is one person didn't answer, I guess, but okay. Right, so since we just saw it, right, the SEC is not a self-regulatory organization, how the industry oversees itself. The SEC is a government organization that oversees the entire securities industry. Everyone and everything reports to the SEC. The SEC reports to Congress. Okay, Alicia moves on to the board. All right, let's check our next one. Which of the following pairs are not covered by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation at any level? A. Certificates of deposit in mutual funds. B. Mutual funds and annuities. C. Savings accounts and annuities. D. Certificates of deposit and self-directed IRAs. Which pairs are not covered by the FDIC at any level? Mutual funds and annuities are not covered by the FDIC. Okay, because they are investments, not savings, right? The FDIC covers banks. Mutual funds are investments. Annuities are with insurance companies, so they are overseen by the insurance industry, not by the FDIC. FDIC protects bank depositors. All the others have, at least whether it's savings accounts or CDs, right? Those are right? Those are bank instruments, and so those are protected by FDIC. Hannah's 3 in a row, and Alicia moves up. Next question. Which of the following must be a member of the Securities Investor Protection Corporation? What's going on here? I'm sorry, something popped up on my screen. A firm that deals with only industry development revenue bonds, a firm that deals with mutual funds, a firm that deals only in over-the-counter OTC exchange listed stocks, or a firm that only U.S. bills. Sorry, that went by a little bit. Something popped up on my screen. It blocked half of my screen, and I don't know what that was. So I had a little trouble getting that out to you. But which of the following must be a member of SIPC? Right, a firm that deals in over-the-counter and exchange-traded funds. Right, okay. The others, like choice A, industrial development revenue bonds. Those are municipal bonds. A firm that deals only with mutual funds or a firm that only deals with government securities are not necessarily required to become SIPC members. Next question. Broker-dealers and registered representatives are subject to each of the following administrative regulatory bodies except A. State Securities Administrator. B. Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. C. NYSE. Or D. Securities Investor Protection Corporation. Okay, broker-dealers and reg reps subject to the following administrative regulatory bodies except for the SIPC, which I guess I'm trying to think why that actually gave that choice. If I could see the answer, let me see here. Subject to each of the following administrative regulatory bodies except. Funny, I think I would have said the SIPC myself. They list out that was the one that would not be subject to them, but SIPC, well, maybe not registered representatives. Broker dealers, yes, not registered reps. Why not the New York Stock Exchange? Okay, broker dealers and reps, yes, they are subject to administration from the New York Stock Exchange. Yes, including disciplinary action. SIPC, broker dealers, yes, registered reps, no. So, yeah, all the others though, registered reps are included. All right, are subject to all the other regulators. Just the broker dealer firm is subject to SIPC. I'm going to admit that was a little awkward question. Okay. But nevertheless, Alicia has moved up some points here. Broker dealers who transact securities business with other broker dealers or customers must be registered with A, the Operating Code, B, the Federal Reserve Board, C, the Securities and Exchange, D, the Financial Authority. Okay, that was pretty quick. But firms register with the SEC. They're members of FINRA, that's true. But to register with the SEC. Okay. Ashley has moved up some points. Kimberly maintains a pretty good lead. All right, last one. Which of the following acts created the SEC? A, the Securities Markets Improvement Act of 1975. B, the Securities Exchange Act of 1954. C, the Securities Investor Protection Act of 1970. Excellent. Right. The Securities Exchange Act created the Securities and Exchange Commission. Yes, from 1934. In fact, if you ever look at the seal of the SEC, right, it's along the bottom it says in Roman numerals 1934. The 1975 Act that authorized the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board, and the Securities Investor Protection Act created the Securities Investor Protection Corporation. No specific entity was created under the Securities Act of 33. Okay. All right. Well, let's see who's on the podium. In third place, bronze medal is Ashley. And in second place, silver medal is Anna. And in first place, gold medal and Olympic champion, Kimberly. Yeah. All right. Amazing, folks. Great job, everybody. Okay. All right. Some of the questions that I thought were a little questionable myself. Okay. But you got to work with what you got and make your best shot. Okay, let me go ahead and pause this. Okay, so I've just restarted the recording. Welcome back from break, and now we're going to run through some practice questions together. Let me do a share screen with you here. Okay. All right, I think you should be able to see it right now. Our first question tonight is, prior to the filing of a registration statement, which of the following activities is or are permitted? A member firm signing a syndicate agreement to become part of the underwriting group for the issue. B, a member firm distributing preliminary prospectuses for the issue to customers. C, a member firm taking indications of interest for the issue from the customers. Or D, a member firm selling the issuer to customers. All right, which one do you think is the best answer? Would you choose A, B, C, or D? See. Okay, I think I've counted 5. So there should be 7. All right, I think everyone has answered. All right, so prior to the filing of a registration statement, now think about that. Okay? Prior to the filing, what can you do before the registration statement is filed with the SEC? Only one of these are actually are permitted. Before they file the registration statement, they don't deliver a print on prospectus, right? Those are or take indication of interest. Those are done during the cooling off period, right, which is after filing the registration statement. Selling the issue to customers, you cannot sell them until it's cleared with the SEC, right? Until right, right until it's cleared for sale with the SEC. The one they're doing prior to, right? A member firm signing a syndicate agreement. This is prior to the filing the registration statement. That's what's going on behind the scenes. Okay. Kimberly, I think you had noticed that, right? So good job in picking out those details. Exactly. It's that kind of attention to detail that gets you through the test. All right. Good celebration, Kimberly. Great. All right. How about our next question? A seller who has filed Form 144 can sell 1% of the outstanding shares or the weekly average weekly average of the last 4 weeks trading volume, whichever is greater. This amount can be sold how many times a year? A1, B2, C3, D4. Okay, I've counted everyone 7 people. How many times can they sell it this time of year? All right, now remember, we came with a little memory trick to help us remember the rules, right? For 144, for Rule 144, 1% of the shares outstanding or the weekly of the last 4 weeks of trading volume, which they can do 4 times a year. When they file Form 144, it opens up a 90-day window. And during those 90 days, they can only sell, right, either 1% of the shares outstanding or the average trading volume for the last 4 weeks. Okay, so that's the second 4 in Rule 144, 4 times a year. Okay, and again, please, as always, if something doesn't totally make sense or you need just a little extra detail, please feel free to interrupt, unmute, type a message, whatever it is, okay? Which regulation deed offering can be advertised? A, an offering made to maximum 10 accredited investors and 10 non-accredited investors. B, an offering made to a maximum of 35 non-accredited investors and 35 accredited investors. D, an offering made to an unlimited number of accredited investors and no non-accredited investors. Or D, an offering made to an unlimited number of non-accredited investors and no accredited investors. All right, I think that's everybody here. So which regulated share offering can be advertised? Now here our key word is what can be advertised. And on a regulation D, a private placement, as you know, can be, right, is limited to accredited investors. Those are basically rich people, okay, or at least meet certain financial conditions. Well, and there's some other conditions too, right? But others, by the way, including having an active Series 7 license. So guess what? You're not all that far away from being an accredited investor. Congratulations, that was not available when I was taking my test. Okay, or when I was active in the industry. Okay, so offerings can be made to an unlimited number of accredited investors, but they cannot advertise to non-accredited investors. Now you say, isn't there 35 can be not? All right, yeah, there can be 35 non-accredited investors, but they cannot advertise them. Because let's face it, if they advertise them, those 35 slots will fill up really quickly. Those 35 non-accredited, that's basically like a friends and family kind of thing, who can also invest in the ground floor. Okay, but unlimited number of accredited investors, and the advertising must say, right, that this offering is available to accredited investors. Okay, again, if that's not clear, if you need any detail, please let me know, okay? Next question. Which statement is true about the acceptance of an indication of interest for a registered offering during the 20-day cooling off period? A, the indication cannot be canceled by the customer. The indication cannot be canceled by the brokerage firm. B, the indication cannot be canceled by the customer. The indication can be canceled by the brokerage firm. C, the indication can be canceled by the customer. The indication cannot be canceled by the brokerage firm. D, the indication can be canceled by the customer. The indication cannot be canceled by the customer. What do you think is our best answer? Okay, I've counted 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Waiting for one more. Okay, I think that's it. All right, so which is true about the application of an indication of interest? That's just it, right? An indication of interest, and they're considered non-binding, which means people can change their minds. Who can? Everyone can change their minds. The indication can be canceled by the customer and also canceled by the brokerage firm. Everybody can change their mind on an indication of interest. All right, very good. Okay, next question. Under Regulation D, all the following are accredited investors except A investment company. B, trust with assets in excess of $5 million whose purchase is directed by a sophisticated person. C, partnership with that. Oops, I just went to, sorry, I clicked too soon. All right, I kind of blew it for you. I accidentally clicked it. All of these, okay, thanks, Ashley. All of these, okay, who's not an accredited investor is a partnership, even if it has $5 million, formed for the specific purpose of acquiring the securities. Yeah, they cannot form any kind of deal or partnership or anything like that, just specifically for acquiring a Regulation D offering. All the others can, right? An investment company, a savings and loan, those are financial institutions, right? They're considered, right, sophisticated investors. They're professionals. At trust, now remember, trust is its own legal entity with $5 million and, right, is directed, the trustee, right, is considered sophisticated, unless they know what they're doing. Okay. All right. Sorry that I blew that one. So let me try it. Let's see if I can, I'll just keep my hands off the mouse. Next question. All the following statements are true regarding insiders except A, insiders are prohibited from selling short the stock of the related corporation. B, insiders must report change in their holdings to the SEC. C, if a trade results from the receipt of inside information, the person that transmitted the inside information can be held liable. Or D, insiders are prohibited from holding or exercising options on the related company's stock. Okay, let me see. I think I've counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, I've counted. Okay, I've counted 7. So our best answer is all the following are true except which one's not true? Which one's the falsehood? Are insiders prohibited from selling the stock short? Absolutely. That's like betting against your own team. Okay, definitely not allowed. Do they have to report changes to the SEC? Absolutely. If you're an insider or an affiliate, got to report those changes to the SEC. And that's public information, by the way. So some people say, follow the insiders. If insiders are buying, could be a really good reason. If the trade results from inside information, the person who transmitted the information, could they be liable? You bet. They call that the tipper-tippy doctrine. Everybody gets busted for trading on insider information. Are insiders prohibited from holding or exercising options? No, that's fine. In fact, some of their compensation can be in the form of stock options. Definitely, that one is definitely a false answer choice. All right, let's try another one. The Securities Act of 1934 regulates all the following markets except A, primary, B, secondary, C, third, D, fourth. Okay, one more. All right, all the following markets except the primary market. Yes, that's exactly it. The Securities Exchange Act is the second regulation, and it governs the secondary market, which refers to trading between investors. The primary market is for newly issued securities being sold from an issuer, usually a corporation, to ground floor investors. That's primary market. That's regulated under the Securities Act of 33. The third and fourth markets are also secondary markets. By the way, watch out for the vocabulary. Right? The primary market is not the first market. The first market is part of the secondary market. The second market is part of the secondary market. And so are third and fourth markets. Okay, very good. All the following statements are true about listed securities except A, listed securities trade in the second market. B, under Regulation T, all listed securities are marginable. C, listed securities are subject to Regulation SHO. D, listed companies must be registered with and report their results to the SEC. Okay, I've counted 6 so far. Okay, got them all. So all the following statements are true about listed securities except the false, right? The false statement here. Listed securities trade in the second market, right? That's the false statement. Listed securities trade in the first market. The first market refers to the trading of exchange-listed securities on a stock exchange, right? So what trades second market? Unlisted securities, right? They trade in the over-the-counter market. That's referred to as second market. Now, by the way, listed securities also trade third market. Third market is first market plus second market is third market. The third market is trading of exchange-listed securities, but traded off the stock exchange, traded in the over-the-counter market, the dealer market. Regulation T says all listed securities are marginable, right? Which refer to non-exempt securities. They are subject to Regulation SHO. That's for short sales. I'm saying that's short, right before you can sell a stock short. Those securities must be found and available to lend. And listed companies, right, must report to the SEC. In fact, they're even called reporting companies because they must file quarterly and annual reports with the SEC. Under the provisions of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, all the following must be registered except A, the exchanges that trade securities, B, member firms, C, sales employees of member firms, D, customers of member firms. All right, brilliant. I think everybody chose this one. Okay, but good job. Everyone has to register except customers. Right, the customers, they're not part of the industry. They're our customers. They're not professionals in the industry. No, they don't have to register with the SEC. They don't have to register with FINRA or anybody. Okay, everyone else, right, has to be registered. The Securities and Exchange Commission is empowered to administrate all of the following acts except A, Securities Act of 1933, B, Trust Indenture Act of 1939, C, Investment Company Act of 1940, D, Uniform Securities Act of 1956. Okay, I'm waiting for one more. Okay. So the Securities Exchange Commission is empowered to administer all the following. Now remember, the SEC is a federal body, right? It's a federal government. And so it's empowered to administer federal regulations. So which one here is not a federal regulation? It is the Uniform Securities Act of 1956, right? That's the one that refers to state regulations. So who administers the state securities laws? Right, it's the state administrator. Okay, so there's this, every state appoints someone Okay, in some places they might be called an administrator, sometimes a director, sometimes a commissioner or a secretary. Well, whatever the word they use is done under under state laws. The USA is for state securities laws. All the other three are federal laws. Let's try our next one. The determination of which stocks are marginable are made by the A, FRB, B, SEC, C, FINRA, or D, SIPC. All right, I think everyone's chosen the same thing here, and you know what? I agree. Right, which stocks are marginable? It is the Federal Reserve Board who has the authority to determine which stocks are marginable. Now, everything exchange listed is marginable, like it says under Regulation T, right? But unlisted securities are generally speaking not marginable. That means they cannot be used as loan collateral or borrow against their value unless the Federal Reserve Board has cleared it. Yeah, all the others, no, they don't determine that. Which bond offering is required to have a trust indenture under the Trust Indenture Act of 1939? A, mortgage bond, B, lease rental bond, C, school district bond, D, treasury bond. All right, some difference of opinion on this one too. Okay, so which bond is required to have a trust indenture under the Trust Indenture Act? Well, what is the Trust Indenture Act, right? This is the major regulation that oversees corporate bonds, right? Requiring that for any corporation, every corporation that's more than $50 million must appoint a trustee. All right, which one of these is a corporate bond? Only one of them, a mortgage bond. Okay, it's a corporate bond that's secured by real estate. B and C are both municipal bonds, and D, a treasury bond. Well, that's federal government. That's U.S. Treasury. Okay, again, any questions on this one? Not everyone got this one, so I want to make sure. Any part of that is not clear, do let me know. Which statement is true about Securities Investor Protection Corporation, SIPC? A, SIPC protects broker-dealers from falling below minimum net capital requirements. B, SIC protects cash held in bank accounts from the failure of the deposit-taking institution. C, SIPC protects cash and securities held in the brokerage accounts from the failure of the broker-dealer. Or SIPC hedges customer accounts at brokerage firms against the loss due to falling market values. Okay, so which is true about SIPC? All right, the one that is true here, I agree with everyone here too. It protects cash and securities held in brokerage accounts from the failure of the broker-dealer, right? Insolvency. Insolvency means bankruptcy. And since most people keep their investments on deposit, right, in their brokerage accounts, not holding paper stock certificates, right? Then yes, if the firm goes under, it could take customers' assets along down with it. So that's why the SIP is there to protect. B is not true because what does it protect for cash held in bank accounts? Which entity protects against that for bank accounts insolvency? Can you tell me? Unmute or type. Well, yeah, FDIC, perfect. Actually, yes, the FDIC is for banks. Now, one of the differences is the FDIC is a government entity, whereas SIPC is a nonprofit organization. Okay, but other than that, that's what they're for. Nothing protects them from falling below minimum net capital requirements, except they may have to post a surety bond. And does it hedge against customer accounts against the loss in falling market values? No. What does hedge against brokerage accounts, a loss in market values? The closest thing I can think of course, would be like, for example, an index option, right? So buy a put on the S&P 500, that might protect against market loss, right? So offer some hedge against market loss. Okay, let's see if we can do another one. Which of the following callers is exempt from the provisions of the Federal Telephone Consumer Protection Act of 1991? A, telemarketing company. B, real estate company. C, nonprofit organization. Or D, securities firm. Okay, so which of the following callers is exempt from the FTCP? And that is nonprofit organizations. Yes, they do not fall under the rules, right? Everything else is a business, and yes, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, right, involves cold calling, right, which means having no prior contact. So in a cold call, what are some of the rules here? Right, no calls before 8 a.m. or after 9 p.m. in the customer's time zone. And the firm making the call must maintain an internal do not call directory. So if someone says, go away and don't call me again, you have to go away and not call them again. A customer account is a customer has a margin account at a failed broker dealer. The securities were purchased for $50,000. As of the date the SIPC filed in court to be the trustee in the bankruptcy, the securities were worth $30,000. The account has a debit balance of $10,000. SIPC coverage will be A, $20,000, B, $30,000, C, $40,000, or D, $50,000. Okay, a little difference of opinion on this one here. So the customer has a margin account. Okay, the broker dealer has failed. So the SIP is now filing to be the trustee in bankruptcy. So the value, right, as they're going to be as of the date that the filing was made, $30,000. Okay, but keep in mind, in a margin account, only the equity is covered. So the assets were worth $30,000. There was a $10,000 debit balance. That means $10,000 were borrowed against the value of the portfolio. So whatever, right, $30,000 in value minus a $10,000 loan against it is $20,000 equity. So that is our best answer choice. Okay, again, is there any part of that not clear about how we arrived at that number? The debit balance is the amount that's borrowed against the portfolio. So anything left over, right, assets minus liabilities, right, or the net worth, the equity of the account is like if you have a house, subtract out take the market value of the house minus the mortgage, and what's left is your home equity. Okay. This didn't appear as well as I hoped it would, but okay. Which of the following actions taken by a fiduciary would not be consistent with the obligations imposed under the prudent man rule? A, diversifying a fixed income portfolio with securities of varying maturities. B, selecting AA rated corporate convertible bond investments to meet an investment objective of both income and capital gains. C, investing in small capitalization unlisted new issue investments for long-term growth. Or D, writing covered calls against security positions held in accounts to increase income. What do you think? All right, I think everyone's answered this one too. What would not be considered with the obligations of a prudent man rule? Well, okay, what is this prudent man or prudent investor rule? It means someone who is a fiduciary, and that means there's someone who's handling or has to handle someone else's assets. As a fiduciary, must always put that other person's interest ahead of their own at all times. Right? Trustees of a trust are fiduciaries. Investment advisors, a custodian of a minor's account, a custodial account. These are all fiduciaries. Have to manage that other assets as a prudent person would do, given the circumstances, based on the objectives, based on risk, and of course, they're expected to diversify a portfolio to reduce the risk, to spread out the non-systematic risks. Okay, investing in corporate bonds, AA rated, that'd be all right. Even selling covered calls, right? That is a recognized risk-reducing strategy. The one here that's maybe just a little too risky, a little too far out on a limb, investing in small cap, those are small size companies, unlisted, New issues, those are entirely unproven investments. May they have long-term growth? Quite possibly. They might crash and burn too. So as a prudent investor, that would be too high a level of risk for someone who's acting as a fiduciary. Who does not have to be licensed in a broker-dealer? A, president, B, equity trader, C, ACATS clerk, or D, sales individual. Okay. By the way, I think I've noticed that folks are answering questions a little more quickly. I think you're starting to build up a little momentum here. Who does not have to be licensed in a broker-dealer? Someone who's not actually working or forward-facing with customers and taking customer orders, right? Or supervise people who do. The ACATS clerk, right? The automated customer account transfer service. That's more like a back office type of position. Okay, right. We heard about that from Vanguard. They have some kind of back office type of positions too. So that kind of a clerk is not dealing with customers, not taking customer orders, does not have to be registered. As a result of a hearing in front of the hearing panel, a registered representative is suspended. Which statement is true regarding the right of appeal? A, the decision of the hearing panel is final and cannot be appealed. B, the decision may be appealed to the National Adjudicatory Council. C, the decision may be appealed to the Securities and Exchange Commission. D, the decision can be appealed to a federal court. Well, I think it was a unanimous decision here. Yes, which statement is true regarding the right of appeal? The decision can be appealed to the National Adjudicatory Council, the NAC, which is like the rulemaking board for FINRA. Okay, no, the decision is not a final decision, right? There is an appeals process under Code of Procedure. The first level appeal is to the National Adjudicatory Council. Now, that part is that then that can be appealed to the Securities Exchange Commission, and then finally it can be appealed to a federal court. But since we can only pick one here, right, as a result of the front of the hearing panel, yeah, then our first level appeal will go to the NAC. Right, the C and D are like true statements, but again, we're looking for the best answer. Since it's right result of the hearing panel, the first level appeal is the NAC. After that, then the SEC, then the federal court. Oops, I think did I go too far? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right, let's try this one. I'm sure you didn't see it, right? If a registered representative fails to complete the regulatory element of the continuing education requirement of the stated time period, that person, A, can continue to perform all the functions of a registered representative. B, can only accept unsolicited orders from customers. C, can only be compensated on a salary basis. Commission compensation is prohibited. Or D, must cease all performing all the functions of a registered representative. Okay. So what's our best answer choice? If they do not complete their continuing ed, then that person must cease performing all the functions of a registered rep. Yep, your license will be in an inactive status if you don't complete your continuing ed on time. Okay, once you complete your continuing ed, they'll reactivate the license. But yeah, your paycheck depends on completing your continuing ed, so make sure you do it on time. Okay, right? I think we've talked about that, right? Nobody fails continuing ed, you just got to get through it. All the following practices are prohibited under FINRA rules except A, selling dividends, B, selling listed securities to customers on margin, C, recommending purchases beyond a customer's financial capacity, or D, trading mutual fund shares. Okay, before I bring this up, so notice all the following are prohibited under FINRA rules except, which means which one of these is okay? So if you look at it that way, which one I say which is okay, would any of you care to change your answer? See, this is a double negative. Prohibited except. All right, so that means which ones are, yeah, okay, like Amy gets you everything. It gets a lot of us, Amy. There's no doubt. It gets me sometimes too. Double negatives. It drives me not uncrazy. All right, anyone else care to change an answer based on that? Anything maybe that you'd like to change based on that? I'm giving you a hint. All right. Looks like maybe you picked up the hint. All the following are prohibited except. Okay. Wait a second. Hold on. That's not right. No, I'm sorry, guys. That should be B. Okay, sorry, guys. I messed this one up. B should be the best answer. So I can't. I don't have any highlighting tools here that I can change this. Okay, but B is the best answer.
Why is it prohibited to trade mutual fund shares?
Because I know, I thought about that first too. Okay, I'm not just taking about orders on mutual funds. It's because mutual funds don't trade. They are not traded secondary market. They must be redeemed. Okay, not traded.
But see, what I find difficult to understand that though is you place a trade for a mutual fund. If you want to sell your mutual fund, you place a trade and the trade has to settle.
Yes, okay.
So
okay. Yeah, placing an order on a mutual fund, but when they became more specific here, trading mutual funds are not, because mutual funds have to be redeemed. There's no secondary market for them. You cannot.
And selling listed securities to customers on margin. I mean, you can sell a client knowing it's going to put them in margin. You can solicit them.
Yes. Yes.
To buy.
Margin trade is not. There's no prohibition. No prohibition. It's not prohibited to set trade on margin. Now people have to have a margin.
To solicit it though? I mean, but to solicit it.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Now recommending purchase beyond their capacity. Of course, that's called churning, right? With either the size of a trade or frequency of making trades are excessive and unsuitable. Selling dividends, that's trying to convince someone to buy a mutual fund right before the ex-dividend date, because they actually get no benefit out of that minus taxes. But yeah, mutual fund shares are not traded. Also, when I first saw this question, I began to think, well, mutual fund recommendations should always be considered a long-term recommendation, never for short-term. The only thing the only exception to like a short-term holding would be a money market fund. That's designed to be just a short-term marketplace. But mutual fund recommendations should always be considered long-term recommendations. Okay. Okay, next one here. A registered representative buys call options on a stock with the advanced knowledge of a large buy order being placed by an institution. This is known as A, free riding, B, front running, C, interpositioning, or D, backing away. All right, very good. Right. This is, placing a buy order with the advanced knowledge. That's known as front running. That's sticking your trade in ahead of a customer's trade. Never permitted, right? Customer orders must be fulfilled, must have priority over the firm's or the registered rep's own orders. Free riding is basically profiting without pay. Okay, buying the stock, selling it again without making the required deposit by by trade date +2, or by the or regulation D payment date. Yeah, that's basically trading using the house's money without having your own skin in the game. All right. People, by the way, blow themselves up a lot, right? They find themselves, having committed a violation, not even being aware there was one. Interpositioning is sticking another firm's, or putting another firm in between your customer's order, right? Which may result in, of course, someone being traded like an extra commission or getting an extra markup on that. It's not allowed unless it results in a better price for the customer. Backing away, that applies to securities dealers, market makers in securities. When they make a quote, they have to make a two-sided quote, the price they'll buy for and sell for, and that's expected to be a firm quote. And if they don't honor their quote, that's called backing away, and that's a violation. FINRA's 5% policy applies to which of the following? A, sales charges on mutual fund offerings. B, markups charged on principal transactions of municipal bonds. C, underwriting spreads charged on new issue offerings affected over the counter. D, commissions charged on the transactions affected over the counter. Okay, before I reveal the answer choice, I know a lot of people knows what many people have answered here, but here's a real quick question for you. What is the maximum allowable sales charge on a mutual fund according to FINRA rules? Okay, 8.5. 8.5, 8.5. Okay, so in that case, do you think the 5% policy applies to sales charges on mutual fund offerings? Let's ask you that real quick. Okay. All right, so with that in mind, would anybody care to change their answer? Okay. All right. I think you did a little better here this time. Okay. With a little bit of perspectives here. The FINRA 5% policy applies to commissions charged on transactions over the counter. Now, that's not the only thing it applies to, but it does, right? FINRA's 5% policy is what was a fair amount to charge. This is a commission or markup on a trade. It does not apply to prospectus offerings. All right, new issues like choice C, a new underwriting spread, a new issue, that does not apply because that's offered by prospectus. Mutual funds are always a new issued securities that are offered by prospectus. How about on municipal bonds? They don't have a prospectus offering, do they, right? Because they're exempt securities. But this question is about FINRA's policy. Which self-regulatory organization sets policies or rules on municipal bond transactions, right? The MSRB, right? Its rules, right? Those would not be FIN rules. Those would be MSRB rules. We have to watch out for that sometimes, right? Now, who sets the different rules of the industry? Okay, let's see if that's got a couple more here. If a brokerage firm receives a written customer complaint, then A, the complaint must be forwarded to the firm's self-regulatory organization for resolution. B, the firm must resolve the complaints and keep a separate file of the complaints with action taken for inspection by the SRO. C, the registered representative is responsible for resolving the customer complaint and keeping the records of action taken. Or D, no action need be taken unless the customer has also complained directly to the self-regulatory organization. All right. So if a brokerage firm receives a if the brokerage firm receives a written customer complaint, and keep in mind, complaints must be in writing. Okay, a verbal complaint does not count with regulators. It must be in writing, although email counts. Okay. So which following complaint then? Yes, the firm must resolve the complaint and keep a separate file of the complaints. Okay. And yes, it has to be inspected by the self-regulatory organization, who will take quarterly reports about the complaints that have been filed with the broker-dealer firm. Right? Maybe they're starting to look for patterns here. Any written complaint is not the registered rep's responsibility. They must forward that immediately to a principal, to a supervisor. And no, you do not forward it to the SROs, right? Firms handle their complaints, right? The day-to-day everything activity is done by the firms, by member firms. Okay, self-regulatory organizations don't get involved in the details. And yep, that was my last one. Okay. So anyway, I hope you got some things out of that. Oh, thank you, Kimberly. All right. Okay, hang on a second while I go ahead and black this off. Okay, and stop the presentation. All right. So anyway, I hope you found that a little helpful today. I was able to call some of these for you here. Oh, hi, Colby. I think I just a little too lost you again. So, all right. But hey, you can always play along. Which of the following regulatory bodies regulates but has no enforcement powers? A. Securities and Exchange Commission. B. Chicago Board of Options Exchange. C. Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board. Or D. Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. Correct. Yes, it's the MSRB. Right. It creates rules but cannot enforce its own rules. So what good is that, right? If you can't enforce them, well, they rely mostly on FINRA, or can be the SEC, all right, or things like under banking, they can rely on the FDIC to do its enforcement for it. Okay, but they cannot enforce its own rules. It has to rely on someone else. Okay, Ashley moves into a quick lead here. That's our next one. Which of the following is the largest self-regulatory organization? A. MSRB. No B. Yeah, okay. No, remember the FINRA is the self-regulatory organization, and it is the major one. Rather than FINRA puts this whole test together. The SEC is not a self-regulatory organization. It is a government entity, right, with force of law. Okay. The self-regulatory organizations answer to the SEC. They can create rules, but they have no force of law. Okay, Karina moves into second place. How about our next one? Financial industry regulatory authorities, FINRA's conduct rules are designed to promote A. Efficient and just handling of trade practice violations. Fair method of trade practice when dealing with the public. C. Uniform trade practice where firms and the public deal with member firms. Settlement of disputes between member firms without resorting to the courts. The conduct rules specifically, there are multiple rules that FINRA has. They come in four major categories, but the conduct rules is fair and ethical practices when dealing with the public. Yeah, that is FINRA's conduct rules. The handling of trade violations, that is code of procedure. Okay, the uniform trade practices, well, that's actually is called uniform trade practices, UTPs, right? That's basically that's the rules that firms have with each other. So we all know we're playing by the same rule book. And code of arbitration is for handling money disputes without having to write by arbitration rather than litigation. Amy and Kimberly moving up. Nicely done. That's our next one. Which of the following sets of FINRA rules focuses on broker-dealers doing business with other broker-dealers? A. Conduct rules. B. Code of procedure. C. Uniform practice code. Or D. Code of arbitration. I might have just mentioned this one. Exactly. Uniform Practice Code. That is the one that is for dealing business, right? That's their broker-to-broker dealings, right? That we're all playing about. That's like the ACAT system, for example. Okay, that firms, if they're doing transfers, FIN requires them to use the automated customer accounts transfer service. So we're all doing the same thing. Remember, conduct rules is for dealing with the public, not broker, not firm to firm. Code of procedure is for rules violations. Kimberly moving into the lead. Okay. Which of the following cannot enforce their own rules? A. FINRA. B. COE. C. SRE. D. Answer quickly. Score more points. Answer quickly. The MSRB, like I mentioned before, right, creates rules for the municipal bond industry, but cannot enforce its own rules. And also keep in mind, the MSRB has no authority over municipalities, over municipal governments. They have authorities over companies that provide services or consulting or sell municipal products. The SEC can definitely enforce its own rules, right? It's got enforcement power. Okay, Ashley's moving into the lead. Next one. The Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board does not regulate A. The writing of municipal securities rules and regulations. B. The trading of state or local municipal securities. C. Municipalities issue municipal securities. Or D. The underwriting of municipal securities. Answer quickly, guys. That's it. Okay, the MSRB does not, like I just mentioned, does not regulate municipalities. They regulate companies. They do regulate trading of municipal securities, and those like municipal fund securities, like 529 plans, for example. Yeah, that comes under MSRB jurisdiction. Okay, Alicia's moving up. Let's check our next one. Accusations of financial industry regulatory conduct rules violations will be heard and handled under the A. Uniform Securities Act. B. Code of Arbitration Procedure. C. Code of Procedure. D. Uniform Practice. All right, no one seemed to got this one. Yes, they only mentioned it, right? Conduct violations are under Code of Procedure. COP, cop. If somebody breaks the rules, what are the cops going to do? What kind of punishments, what kind of penalties can be meted out? The Uniform Securities Act, remember that refers to state securities laws. Got nothing to do with FINRA Conduct Code. Those are state laws. Okay, Code of Arbitration, again, that is for money disputes. And Uniform Practice Code is for dealing between member firms. Next question. Which regulatory body oversees trading in the over-the-counter OTC market? A. Securities and Exchange Commission. Regulatory Authority. D. New York Stock Exchange. The FINRA oversees the trading in the OTC market. Now, not MSRB, even though it's true that municipal bonds are traded over the counter, but it doesn't oversee the OTC market, right? It trades over just municipal securities themselves. True, they say the SEC, but oversees everything. But remember, this is more precise to the OTC market. The Securities and Exchange Commission oversees the entire industry. Then the New York Stock Exchange, well, that is, of course, for trading of listed securities listed on the NYSE. Kimberly takes the lead. Which of the following sets of FINRA rules focuses on fair dealing with the public? A. Conduct rules. Code of procedures. C. Code of arbitration. D. Uniform practice. Conduct rules, right, for fair and ethical treatment of dealing with the public. That is exactly what conduct rules are for. And remember, code of procedure is violation of conduct rules. Uniform practice code, again, is for dealing between firms, not with the public. And code of arbitration is for money disputes. All right, Amy was a couple places. The Uniform Practice Code establishes uniform trade practices pertaining to all the following except A. Communication with the public. B. Good delivery procedures. C. Don't know procedures. Or D. Subcontract states. Yes, Uniform Practice Code is again is transaction between between firms, right? How the industry managed to all play by the same rule book. Communication with the public, right? That would not fall under Uniform Practice Code. Okay, that falls under Conduct Code because that's dealing with the public. All the others are right in between firms, making good delivery of securities, settlement dates, and ex-dividend dates. We know T+2, and don't know procedures, right? One firm doesn't recognize a trade they did with another firm. They have to be resolved, right, under the DK procedures. Kimberly's 3 in a row and taking a pretty good lead. The MSRB has jurisdiction for making rules in all the following cases except A. Banks selling municipal securities. B. Municipalities selling their own securities. C. Broker-dealers trading municipal securities. D. Broker-dealers underwriting municipal securities. Hey, there you go. Right. Municipalities selling their own securities. Exactly. They don't have jurisdiction over the municipal governments themselves. Mentioned that before, right? Broker-dealers trading municipal securities, right, do have jurisdiction for firms that trade municipal securities. Banks also, broker-dealer, the underwriting or any consulting. Yes, those are all fall under MSB jurisdiction. Kimberly, streak of 4. Nicely done. Financial Industry Regulatory Authority regulates all matters related to investment banking, including A. Trading in the futures markets. B. Trading in the markets. C. Trading in the markets. D. Awesome. Yes. Trading in the OTC market. Absolutely. Yes. All the others, those are not trading in securities. Commodities are not securities. Neither are futures. Annuities are contracts with a life insurance company, or at least fixed annuities. Had it been a variable annuity, if it's got the word variable in it, that's because the policy owner chooses the investments. So fixed annuities variable annuities or variable life insurance, they're both insurance and investments. So FINRA does have jurisdiction, but not in fixed annuities. That's insurance contract. All right. Everyone's got some points now, and Kimberly maintains a commanding lead. Which of the following regulatory authorities relies exclusively on other examining authorities to enforce its rules? A. Chicago Board Options Exchange. B. Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. C. New York Stock Exchange. Or D. Municipal Securities Rulemaking. Might have mentioned it once or twice. Yes, the MSRB does not enforce its own rules. Has to rely on usually FINRA to do its enforcement for it. Okay, all the others, have enforcement authority. Kimberly's 6 in a row. Oh, smoking. And last one. Which of the following sets of FINRA rules focuses on how member violations will be handled? A. Code of arbitration. B. Conduct rules. C. Uniform practice code. D. Code of procedures. Code of procedures. Right, that's how membership rules. I mentioned it before. Right, code of procedures, COP. How violation, right? If someone breaks the rules, that falls under code of procedures. and includes whatever penalties, right? From anywhere from a censure, which is the lightest penalty. They can hit you where it hurts too, by the way, in the wallet. They can levy fines. They can temporarily suspend registration, permanently revoke registration, or barred and suspended from association, which means for the rest of your life, you can't be on the payroll of any firm member firm. Okay, uniform practice code, again, is for the dealing between member firms. So we all know exactly what we're supposed to do and how we do it. Okay, let's see who's on the podium. In third place with bronze medal is Alicia. In second place, silver medalist, Ashley. And in first place, gold medal and Olympic champion is Kimberly. All right. Thank you for all your support and celebrations here. Nothing more, Kimberly. Okay, we bought this. Okay, on our section on regulations, our questions are. Okay, which of the following statements are true about new registered stock offerings? 1. Any purchaser received a preliminary prospectus must also receive the final prospectus. 2. Any purchaser received a preliminary prospectus need not receive the final prospectus. 3. Any purchaser will pay the public offering price. 4. Any purchaser will pay the public offering price plus a commission or markup. Is the best answer A, 1 and 3, B, 1 and 4, C, 2 and 3, or D, 2 and 4? Okay. Oh, no problem changing your answer. No problem at all. Okay, I think Colby and Hannah dropped out again, so unfortunately. All right, but anyway, let's go ahead and see. So what's their best answer here? So what is true about new registered stock offerings? First off, if you got a preliminary prospectus, do you also have the final prospectus? Absolutely. Right? They must be right. Any trades with a new issue must have a final prospectus. And because the final prospectus has information that's not in the preliminary prospectus, like the final offering price, for example. Right? The preliminary will only have a price range somewhere between here and there. The final prospectus has the public offering price. Now, does the purchaser pay the public offering price by itself or the PO plea with a commission or markup? The public offering price is inclusive of the underwriter's spread. Now, the spread is the difference between when they sell the securities to ground floor investors and what the issuer actually gets. So if the public offering price is $20 a share, the issuer gets $19. The spread, the difference between that $1 is the compensation, is basically the commission to the underwriting syndicate. So their profits are already inclusive. They don't charge a commission or markup on top of it. Therefore, our best answer is A, 1 and 3. Okay, next question. Which of the following activities are prohibited during the cooling off period? 1. Sale of the issue to the public. 2. Acceptance of an indication of interest. 3. Distribution of preliminary prospectus. 4. Distribution of an advertisement. Is the best answer A, 1 and 2, B, 3 and 4, C, 2 and 3, or D, 1 and 4? All right, thank you so much. Everyone, I think, has answered. What are prohibited? Not allowed? Are you allowed to sell the issue to the public? Nope. Okay, because it's not effective with the SEC yet. Right? You cannot sell until it's effective. Can you advertise it as being for sale? No, you cannot sell it, offer for sale, advertise it for being for sale, make a recommendation, distribute even a research report on it. None of those things, because that's tantamount to a solicitation. So you cannot sell, you cannot advertise it being for sale. Therefore, the best answer is D, 1 and 4. Now you say, well, isn't there a thing called a tombstone ad during the cooling off period? The answer is yes, there is. Yes, and that can be done during the cooling off period. And a tombstone ad is just basically name, rank, and serial number kind of thing, just bare information and who to call for more information. But the answer choice didn't specifically say tombstone ad. And since it doesn't say it, right, don't assume it. Okay, be careful to read the question and not read into the question. That's a very important testing strategy. If you find yourself going, but yeah, what if that happens? Or what if something else happens? Isn't there something else about you're starting to get lost in the weeds here? Just focus on the question as it is written. Okay, accepting an indication of interest or distributing a preliminary prospectus, those are okay. In fact, the preliminary prospectus helps me determine if they want to make an indication of interest. And can anyone tell me, what is another word, what is another term for a preliminary prospectus? Who can tell me? There you go, Kimberly, red herring, perfect. Excellent. Which of the following is considered to be a private placement of securities? A, a Rule 147 offering. B, a Regulation A offering. C, a Regulation D offering. Or D, a follow-on offering. Okay, and if you're not sure, hey, best guess. This is all practice. Just go with your, just take your instinctive answer, your instinctive response. Okay. Okay, I'm going to close this one. So which of the following is considered to be a private placement of securities? A private placement is an exemption from registration under Regulation D of the Securities Act of 1933. So Reg D allows for an exemption for a private placement. They're not required to register with the SEC because it's not being offered to the public. It's a private deal. Got to know someone who knows someone. Okay. Rule 147 is for an intra-state offering, only taking investors from in their own state. Regulation A is a small offering. Now, in this case, small can be in as much as $75 million. And a follow-on offering, also called an additional public offering, APO, is the company's already sold shares to investors to raise capital. Now they want to sell more shares to raise more capital. That's called a follow-on or also additional public offering. The chief executive officer of PD Company is married and has a husband who owns 5% of the company common equity of PDQ. Which of the following statements are true regarding the husband and his PDQ stock holdings? 1. The husband is considered to be an affiliate under Rule 144. 2. The husband is not considered to be an affiliate under Rule 144. 3. To sell PDQ securities, the husband must file a Form 144. 4. To sell PDQ securities, the husband is not required to file a Form 144. Is the best answer A1 and 3, B1 and 4, C2 and 3, or D2 and 4? Okay, go one more for me. I've got 4 answers. Okay. I think everybody has chose choice A, that the husband is an affiliate, and to sell, the husband must file Form 144. That's it perfectly. This question is trying to get you to forget something. Okay, because who's considered to be an affiliate or an insider? Right? Certainly an officer, director, or 10% shareholder. Now the question is about the husband, right? Okay. His wife is a CEO. She's an officer. He's not, right? And he owns 5% of the company stock, not 10%. But this is trying to get you to forget that immediate family of an insider or an affiliate is also an affiliate. So he is an affiliate and he wants to sell his shares, has to file a registration form, right? Form 144 with the SEC. That goes under Rule 144. Good. Okay, and I think we got time for one more. A corporate executive holds a meeting with a select group of research analysts and gives information about the company's expected revenue and income for the upcoming quarter. If the analysts use the information to make recommendations, which statements are true under Regulation FD? 1. The corporate officer is considered to be a tipper. 2. The corporate officer is considered to be a tippee. 3. Each analyst is considered to be a tipper. 4. Each analyst is considered to be a tippee. Is the best answer A1 and 3, B1 and 4, C2 and 3, or D2 and 4? All right. Okay. Some chose A and some chose B. All right. So which is true? Regulation FD, which is fair disclosure, which is about making inside information available to a select group. Well, it's not illegal to have inside information. It's illegal to try and trade or based on that, or make recommendations to your favorite clients based on having non-public information. So the tipper-tippee doctrine says who gets busted for trading on inside information? Everybody. The person who gave the information, the tipper, and the person who got the information and then did something they shouldn't do with it is the tippee. So the officer, the tipper, the analyst is tippee. Our best answer is B, 1 and 4. All right, with that, we're recorded to the top of the hour, so it's time to wrap up with today's session. Okay. Thank you for your applause again. Okay. 1 second here. Okay, just setting things up in here. Okay. Oh, question: has there been any word on the vouchers? Thank you for the segue, because I just heard from Bill today. He has ordered vouchers. Okay. Now, also, I've got to remind you, but I think I've sent everybody, where they're set on GBS 261 on the regular class, and what assignments are still outstanding. And as I say, this is the time. Okay, they're actually pretty much past due at this point. So get them in. At some point, I do have to set a deadline, and I'm trying to extend that deadline as much as I can, but I can't keep extending it forever. So we got to get those in. So this is the time. So just hammer it in. Hammer out those whatever you need. Okay, just take those quizzes, take those practice exams, the mastery exams. If you need to take a second final exam, okay.
Do you have, so you don't have a end date yet? Like here's the last day that you can turn stuff
Well, okay, I'm trying to extend it past this Friday, because officially,
okay. So this
Friday,
initially, but
yeah,
the soonest is this Friday, we could say this Friday for sure.
I can say this Friday for sure, yes. And okay. I'm hoping I can extend it longer than that, but at some point. Anyway, get them in. I'm watching also for the GBS 261 LL, the lab here. Okay, there are assignments here too. Some people have done them, some people haven't started on them, at least last time I looked. So it's a manual process for me to go in and grade people, so it takes a little time. But okay, this is the time. And remember, my offer to you still stands, right? You want to talk one-on-one with me, right? Whatever you like. Let's put it this way: I'm offering to do this like as part of your whole deal here, right? my corporate training rate is $75 an hour. I'm expensive, so come and talk to me, and and we can go whatever you like, okay? All right. All right, folks, that wraps things up for today. We'll see you all on Wednesday. Our guest from Charles Schwab will be joining us on Wednesday. My pleasure. Anything else today?
Thank you.
My pleasure, Kimberly. Everyone, take care. Have a great rest of your evening. See you Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.